Hello, welcome to my YouTube video, where today we are going to talk about every single FNAF character from the series in order. Let's get right into it. Today we're going to start with Five Nights at Freddy's 1. These animatronics are not the first ever animatronics inside of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe itself, but they are the original Scott Cawthon created for his first Five Nights at Freddy's game. Scott only made FNAF because he was told his characters looked creepy in his previous games, such as Chipper and Sons, so he tried his luck at making a horror game. Every FNAF game usually has Five Nights in some way, unless it is a Steel Wool game, a VR game, etc., etc. As the nights progress, the AI for each animatronic is increased to make it more difficult to survive. In this project, I will use overviews such as this one to cover broad topics, explain lore, and other things, considering these overviews could otherwise be added to any animatronic applicable. Now, for the first actual animatronic, we have Freddy Fazbear. He's the main antagonist and face of Fazbear Entertainment. Freddy appears in every single game. In the first game, he laughs when he moves, attacking one of the doors. I think just the right door, but the wiki said one of the doors. In the left door for UCN, actually. He plays the Toreador March when the power goes out in FNAF 1. Before he kills the player once it ends. He has a speaker or music box inside of him to play music and songs as shown in Help Wanted. And Freddy is also a suit you get stuffed into when you die in FNAF 1 and 2. Or, we think at least. Probably is. It's definitely in FNAF 1. He's based off of Fredbear, which we will get into later, in lore-wise at least. There's not much else to say. He's Freddy Fazbear. He's pretty popular. He's on the orange Fanta bottle, and okay, we're moving on. This is Bonnie the Bunny. Scott has been noted to have nightmares of Bonnie while making Five Nights at Freddy's 1, which is pretty cool. Bonnie is almost, if not more important, as Freddy in the series, and is based off of Spring Bonnie, which we'll get into later. Bonnie is theoretically the most aggressive out of the main four. And his guitar was copyrighted years later after the game came out, so it was retroactively changed and fixed in most of the mobile ports. This Bonnie has no eyebrows, which is pretty interesting. There's a Bonnie in every FNAF game, if we count a few strange variants of him. In FNAF 1, he attacks down the left hallway and can be stopped by the door just like Chica. Speaking of Chica, she is sometimes seen with a cupcake, but mysteriously drops it in multiple appearances. Chica is the only animatronic, except Freddy, who goes into the kitchen in their game. They go down the right hallway and can be stopped like Bonnie with the door. Chica is in almost every FNAF game, because she appears in Sister Location's coding. She is also always hungry, as it seems, because she, has the bib that reads "Let's eat." She actually always has a bib in almost every appearance and version. I can't think of any off the top of my head that doesn't have a bib, except for Security Breach. She's also the only female animatronic out of the main cast of characters. And who could forget Chica's sidekick, though? This is the Cupcake. The Cupcake, I call him Carl. He's been named by fans for a while being Carl the Cupcake. He appears in every game with Chica or as an Easter egg. He's never a threat except in a few games like Help Wanted, FNAF 4, more recently Secret of the Mimic. In its movie depiction, it got a few kills actually. It was pretty aggressive. And in the original script, Matt Pat revealed that the Cupcake was going to kill Afton instead of the Spring Locks. I only include this Cupcake because there's a lot of cupcakes in the series, and I don't want to add more, so this is all you get for now. This applies to every cupcake going forward, really. He's also a pumpkin sometimes on Halloween release, although I can't talk. He's also a pumpkin sometimes on Halloween-related updates or celebrations, like in FNAF 4 Halloween Edition, and just appearing on the counters as a pumpkin sometimes. Now it's Foxy the Pirate Fox. Foxy is the only character with an animated movement on a camera in FNAF 1. Foxy is in every FNAF game in some form, probably, and concludes the main 4. He's noticeably damaged in the first game and is in need of repairs with the out of order sign in front of the cove, so we have never seen a perfect FNAF 1 era Foxy canonically, like fixed, He's very jarring and moves erratically, as shown as in Help Wanted, and he is a captain occasionally, just like in Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2, but in other depictions, such as Secret the Mimic, he is not a captain. His jump scare in FNAF 1 lets fans to theorize that he never intended to scare the player, since it's such a shitty jump scare. There's also a popular glitch where you kill Foxy by closing the door on the exact frame he jump scares you. This is the endoskeleton, Endo-01. This is the original endoskeleton found in parts and service, rarely looking at the camera, but otherwise, they just stay still looking down at the ground. Every animatronic has an endoskeleton inside of them, except for suits, which are empty to be worn. And this is known as Endo-01. The FNAF movie animatronic endoskeletons actually looked very similar to Scott's design and game. Theoretically, this is what the animatronics think the player is, and why they stuff the player in a suit, as the phone guy will say in FNAF 1. And that's basically it for Endo-01. I don't like Golden Freddy, so I'm not going to go into super detail with Mr. Yellow Bear, as his original name was going to be Yellow Bear. He has 2 spirits in him theoretically. In FNAF 1, he has a very rare chance of spawning once the poster in Cam 2B changes to his face. He also will jump scare you if you put the code 1987 into the custom night screen in FNAF 1. He looks very different and behaves much less rare in future depictions in games and appearances. So they will be split here with like FNAF 1 and 2, even though they have the same name and are technically the same character. In the movie, they combined the versions, funnily enough, so that is also, I think, something worth mentioning. Golden Freddy is almost in every FNAF game in some sort of way, and he is basically a ghost version or some weird, just like, I can't explain him well. He's basically another version of Fredbear, who I will get to eventually. Expect a lot of mentions of eventually. Speaking of honorable mentions, this is Sparky the dog, which was originally a hoax from the FNAF 1 era, appearing in the parts and service camera in the doorway. They were so important to FNAF, however, that Scott included Sparky in the FNAF movie as both a spare suit in the back of the establishment, as well as the diner that MatPat works at, called Sparky's. It's not spelled that way though. I just misspelled it because I'm kind of funny like that. Anyways, FNAF 2. This is where I actually started the project, as I didn't want to do FNAF 1 until I finished FNAF 2. I don't know why. This is the Toys and Wizards overview. Firstly, the toy animatronics, unlike their FNAF 1 counterparts, are plastic instead of fabric, outer shells, and appear much more shiny and cute. It is assumed that this rebrand is to seem even more child-friendly than the previous location, which may actually occur at the same time. The withered animatronics noticeably look different than their FNAF 1 counterparts. In the story, FNAF 2 either takes place before or during the events of the first game, as I was talking about. Therefore, the withered animatronics are entirely different robots than the cast of FNAF 1, and are theorized to be from the Fredbear Family Diners era, or around that time, maybe shortly after. I'm not a theorist. Anyways, this is Toy Freddy. He's a chubby He's a chubby plastic version of Freddy who later is revealed to be a gamer in Ultimate Custom Night. He acts more similarly to the withered animatronics than the other toy animatronics, as he comes down the hallway and stares at you, needing you to put the mask on. In UCN, he is seen playing against Mr. Hugs in a video game, and he can't beat the game by himself because he has fat plastic fingers that can't press the buttons, so you have to help him or he'll kill you. He can be deterred by the Freddy mask, as mentioned, and he only appears in a handful of games throughout the series, but the rest of the FNAF 2 cast will star in the FNAF 2 movie coming shortly. The deadliest animatronic for FNAF 2's Max Mode has a moving animation when being deterred by the Freddy mask. Coming from the right vent, he's portrayed as narcissistic and bratty to an extent, such as in Special Delivery. Once again, appearing only a handful of games, but is Daco's biggest op, Daco being a very popular Five Nights at Freddy's YouTuber. He has eyelashes and eyebrows, making up for Bonnie's lack of eyebrows in the previous game, and he's very blue. This is Toy Chica. Toy Chica attacks from the left vent and noticeably loses her beak when aggressive, taking on a much creepier appearance and looking much more kid-friendly with the beak than without. Her bib now reads "Let's Party" to go with the new and improved theme of the toy animatronics. She appears again in only a handful of games, however she has her own version of the cupcake, being the toy cupcake, and she can use water hose in FNAF World, which will kill any enemies that are less than 25% HP, I'm pretty sure. There's not much else to say. The fan base really likes Toy Chica, and I'm not supposed to go into detail there, as I don't want this YouTube video to go too mature. Toy Foxy, also named Funtime Foxy, was an animatronic torn apart by children, and this torn apart amalgam is then referred to as the Mangle. There is no official design for Toy Foxy really, except for in FNAF World, so I used this image. I don't know why. Mangle, however, has an extra endoskeleton head and can crawl on the ceiling, as well as in vents on their weird limbs. Mangle is always spouting radio nonsense, but can also trick the player by playing audio of Balloon Boy's laughter or walking sounds or crawling sounds, but the game usually doesn't play them because of a few glitches that cause the code to be never run properly. Mangle has appeared in many games after debut as a fan favorite, some would say. And when asked about their gender, Scott simply said, "Yes." So she may be creepy and ambiguous, but he is the best pile of wires in fandom. This is Balloon Boy. Fuck Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy is a clown wooden puppet doll animatronic thing that cannot kill the player in FNAF 2. However, Balloon Boy instead stops the player from using their flashlight when he enters their office. He only moves when he laughs, and he enters through the left vent and can be sent away with the Freddy mask like everyone else. His laugh is reused in FNAF 3 as the audio lure to lure away Springtrap. He notably appears across the series in many ways, including the reoccurring jump scare through the FNAF movie, as shown at the top of this slide, scaring Corey Kenshin in the post-credit scene. JJ, Balloon Girl, is real, barely. I considered her a hoax back in the day. A majority of players also felt similarly, at least I think, considering how rare and hard to spot she was. She only appears under the desk as a purple recolor of Balloon Boy, hence she was referred to as Balloon Girl. However, Scott included her in a few more depictions like FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night. She does nothing new in FNAF 2, but in UCN she works similarly to Balloon Boy, not actively killing the player, but instead opening and closing doors at random, leading to their death indirectly. She can be stopped by closing the far right vent, along with Balloon Boy. The marionette, or puppet, forces the player to wind their music box on the cameras, specifically the Kids Cove camera. No, not Kids Cove, Prize Corner camera. The puppet works like a normal animatronic when spawned, except their movement opportunities are 5 times as fast and cannot be stopped upon reaching your office. So once the music box runs out, it is basically a game over, despite it not technically being an instant game over. They notably are in the same pose a majority of the time and cause hallucinations across your screen. They appear in many games, including FNAF 3, being the same version as in FNAF 2, before they spawn a separate version of themselves called Phantom Puppet. I'll get into them later. They were the ones. Puppet was the one who was theoretically helping the spirits get their happiest day, and he is possessed by Charlie, Henry and Emily's daughter. Henry and Emily is one of the 2 Fazbear owners. Withered Freddy is much bulkier and has darker fur than the original Freddy, causing fans to believe that all withered animatronics are not the same as the animatronics depicted in FNAF 1. He can be deterred by the mask and is one of 2 withered animatronics absent from UCN. Overall, he is the least destroyed withered animatronic, but he occasionally is He obviously is incredibly old and broken, usually hunched over in most depictions. He's got bad knees. This is Withered Bonnie, who is missing his left arm and the upper part of his face and jaw, having been the most destroyed out of the Withereds. He is always seen standing in his signature pose, except on very specific occasions like a jump scare, and can be deterred by the mask after he enters the office through the left vent. An image circulated that there was a Withered Bonnie toilet in a supposed FNAF World theme park. This was a hoax and a lie, but I included this picture because it's funny as fuck. This is Withered Chica. Her jaw is broken, as well as her 2 hands being missing. So I think she's the second most broken withered animatronic. She likes to T-pose with her arms out like this, but she puts them in front of her as shown when she has to crawl through vents. She has the same bib as the original Chica, but she is obviously much larger, which means that she gets stuck in the vent in Ultimate Custom Night, part of her mechanics. She can also be deterred by the mask. As for someone who can't be deterred by the mask, this is Withered Foxy, the only animatronic to not be fooled, and instead can only be deterred with a flashlight. He is also absent from Ultimate Custom Night. He shows up in the parts and service camera and the main hallway in FNAF 2, literally showing up nowhere else. I think I'm lying there. I'm pretty sure he shows up somewhere else, but don't worry about it. He's also used in Foxy.exe, which is a minigame in the Halloween area of FNAF World. Foxy has always been broken, so compared to the other withered animatronics, he isn't that bad compared to the original we've seen in FNAF 1. Except his head also is missing a giant portion, and his hook is obviously more dangerous and scary. This is Golden Freddy from FNAF 2. He appears much more damaged and much more common than Golden Freddy, even being in the custom night for this game. He can be deterred by the mask once he appears in the office, and he can also appear in the main hallway as a floating head. This version of Golden Freddy is more widely used throughout FNAF designs, but both of his versions can appear in other ways, and this version has been dubbed Withered Golden Freddy. Both versions exist in Ultimate Custom Night in some way, with the Yellow Bear version being a cutscene and the Withered Golden Freddy just being a character you can add to your night. The Paper Pals. The original appearance of FNAF 2 led to these pals being brought in some way to almost every future FNAF game, and even having new Paper Pals being created for the newer games. They are harmless, but they do have an AI value in FNAF 2 for a 1% chance to spawn in your office during the custom night. They aren't very helpful in FNAF World, and are now usually a collectible or Easter egg hidden around the FNAF games, but never truly important. But they are always watching, and we still don't know exactly what they represent, the originals at least. Shadow Freddy appears only in the parts and service room in their debut game, but has more cameos in future games such as FNAF 3 and FNAF World. This is one of 2 characters who would have used the metal run dot wave mechanic, a mechanic in FNAF 2's code that we know broke before release. The mechanic was they would disappear after being stared at for 0.5 seconds. Instead of disappearing, he crashes your game. Due to his FNAF 3 minigame appearance, some fans have created a Freddy Fazbear recolor, sometimes called Purple Freddy, which is commonly associated with Shadow Freddy. In FNAF 3, he will lead the animatronics in the minigame to their destruction by a purple guy. He also appears in the FNAF 3 office. Yeah. This is Shadow Bonnie, or RXQ, or RWQFSFASXC. He was first seen in FNAF World, appearing in FNAF 3 minigames and in FNAF World, where they got their very long, annoying name from. Originally, they were referred to as Shadow Bonnie due to the similarity to Toy Bonnie, except the teeth are incredibly different for a creepier effect. They usually appear glitchy in 8-bit form and resemble glitch trap enemies in later games. In Ultimate Custom Night, they can be summoned by DD or XOR into your office, in which the office will become pitch black and you will not be able to see your doors or flashlight. They also were in FNAF AR, but who cares about that game? It's dead now anyways. We still aren't done with FNAF 2, as we still have Endo 02, which is the second endoskeleton appearance in the series, a rare Easter egg only appearing in a few cameras, such as the prize corner and the right vent. This is also one of 2 characters who would have used the metal dot wave mechanic, as I said previously with Shadow Freddy. They have also appeared in FNAF 2, FNAF World, FNAF AR, and maybe more recent games that I just can't find. I think they are probably in one of the Help Wanted games, I just can't prove it. FNAF 3, which takes place in 2017. Just a week away. This is the overview of the Phantoms. The Phantom animatronics are hallucinations. I'm gonna be here for fucking an hour. The Phantom animatronics are hallucinations the player experiences, which is why their jump scares don't actually kill the player. We assume that the player in FNAF 3 has been in both FNAF 1 location and FNAF 2 location. And for some reason, they know what the animatronics look like when they're burned, so that would be why it explains them. Because the Phantom animatronics are burned, obviously. They appear yellowish, blackish, greenish, rotted, moldy, burned, all that. The Phantoms do mess with the maintenance in the building, which means that there's something physical there, even if the animatronics themselves are hallucinations. So that is quite interesting. I don't think it's ever been explained. This is Springtrap. He's William Afton's decaying corpse inside of a spring-locked suit, trapped forever. Due to the animatronic components, the audio lures in FNAF 3 force him to go wherever he thinks kids are present. He's surprisingly agile. He prefers not to move much during being in constant pain from, dying. His green suit is rotted with some flesh being able to be seen from the outside. He's one of the most popular characters in the entire franchise, being chosen to be in Dead by Daylight as the attraction. He also has the best voice lines in the series, besides the one connection terminated speech that I think tops everything. The bit's over. Yeah, I'm doing my normal voice now. How does it make you feel? Phantom Freddy, he walks past the window in front of the office of FNAF 3, stared out too long, causes ventilation error when he jump scares you. He can be ignored if you have the camera or maintenance panel up, and he's one of the few Phantoms brought into UCN, considering how unique they behave. He's missing one of his legs, which is why he walks the way he does. And in Help Wanted, he got a redesign since Steel Wool Studios at the time couldn't be bothered to make with it animatronics, of which he is obviously based off of. It's Balloon Boy. He can spawn in multiple different cameras. If you spare him too long or drop the camera while it's on him, he jump scares you, ventilation error. He's charred to bits, second of 3 Phantoms present in UCN. He has lost his balloon and sign, which he never lost in FNAF 2, except in the vent. In UCN, his face noticeably contorts and his jaw unhinges during a jump scare, which is neat. And this is the Watermelon. Phantom Chiefka spawns in one room on arcade machine screens, and she has the same mechanics as Balloon Boy, but literally only on one screen. But she may be slightly more aggressive. I can't tell. The loaded screen gives her the name Watermelon, so yeah, thanks FNAF World for that. She's the only Phantom animatronic from FNAF 1, actually, now that, when you think about it. So, that's pretty noticeable, pretty notable. Phantom Foxy now. He stands on the left side of your office, and once you make eye contact, he will jump scare you, and he will only appear if you aren't looking at the left side of the room, except if you're on mobile, in which he doesn't care. He'll appear whenever he wants, really. He never goes away unless you do a cool little difficult trick by looking at him and then looking away. His right arm with the hook is now gone, and he has burns on the front of him. And Hub wanted he got a redesign since Steelwool Studios couldn't be bothered to make Withered animatronics. So yeah, it's the same as Phantom Freddy. And then last Phantom, not last Phantom, I lied. This is Phantom Mangle. Mangle is the last Phantom to be in UCN, however. Her mechanics of FNAF 3 are identical to Phantom Chica's, only being available on one camera. However, instead of a ventilation error when she jump scares, it causes an audio error for a long time. Yeah, she just stares at you. She doesn't really jump scare you either. Pretty neat. This is Phantom Puppet. Phantom Puppet spawns in a singular camera and gives you very little time to react when you see them. When they attack, it'll just block your screen inputs for like a long time, making a loud noise while it happens. Obviously, the Phantom Puppet that jump scares you and their appearance on the camera is different, making it clear that there is like the regular puppet in this location somehow. Anyways, this is the time I'm gonna talk about the Crying Childs, aka the ghosts. They're one of Afton's victims, we assume. Which in this game we see they're responsible for Afton's death. Pretty funny. But they appear throughout the series as a reminder of what Afton did. They bear resemblance to the puppet, obviously, as well as Afton's younger son. The 5 spirits in the minigames are assumed to be souls of Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and Golden Freddy, or the puppet. We don't know the last one. But 4 of them are definitely Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica. This is FNAF 4. This is when I realized this project's a nightmare, and I wasn't even remotely done with it at this time. This is the overview of the Nightmare animatronics. Originally, fans created the Dream Theory after FNAF 4 came out, as it was going to be the final FNAF game, and it probably was right. And basically the theory was that the nightmares, as well as all the games, were just dreams the player had experienced after being bitten in the head by Fredbear. Now, however, we believe the nightmare animatronics are actually created by illusion discs, devices that produce a sound which makes humans imagine animatronics. The illusion discs are made by Afton. They're seen in like the novels. He created these discs for various ideas and purposes, and they're used to torment his son Michael, who we play as in FNAF 4 theoretically. Alright, this is Nightmare Freddy. He can only attack once all his Freddles spawn on the bed, which we'll get into next slide. He kills the player instantly. He basically has holes all over his body and sharp teeth and claws to like every Nightmare animatronic. He's got this little teaser image, which for the life of me I couldn't understand when it first came out. He also appears in UCN, where his mechanic remains largely the same. He spawns Freddles. What are Freddles, you may ask? Well, they're named by the fans. They're these little Freddy-like creepy plush things that are made out of metal that appear on the FNAF 4 bed, and once the light is shown on them, they will go away. They also are moving FNAF World that deal a lot of damage. They were the inspiration behind plush babies. They make like this weird screaming noise, and in Halloween edition they aren't changed because game making's hard. This is a Nightmare Bonnie. They attack from the left hallway. We scare it off by the flashlight or closed door. Depending on where he is. His right eye is very exposed, his stomach is ripped open, as well as his left foot being broken. Similar to the classic and Withered Bonnie, he has been seen both as purple and blue, I think. In UCN, he is one of the 3 animatronics that can be stopped by buying their plushie. This is Nightmare Chica. Chica attacks from the right hallway and can be scared off by either the flashlight or closed door. The player's in the middle of the room where she attacks. She instead uses her cupcake to jump scare you, which is pretty neat. Which may have inspired Funtime Freddy's use of Bon Bon in the next game. She still has her bib, although it is incredibly torn. And the first night of any of the games is never usually that bad, and then he dies. Markiplier died at 5 a.m. It was funny. Anyways. God, what that tongue do. Nightmare Foxy acts similarly to the other two nightmares down the hall, but when he enters your room, he goes into the closet, and you have to shine a light on him now as a sort of second Freddy timer, basically. Instead of Freddy, it's him. He also has a jump scare when you first open the closet and shine the light that doesn't kill you. It just goes rare. Some depictions, as in literally this one teaser image and nothing else, give him a metal tongue, and while it is absent in literally everywhere else. Look at what Scott took away from us. He took away this. He took that away from us. Holy shit, it's Fredbear. Just kidding, it's Nightmare Fredbear. He deletes the other nightmares in the final night and other challenges and stuff at like what, 4 a.m., 2 a.m.? I don't remember. He can appear in any of the 4 areas: the bed, the closet, the left door, the right door, and hallway. And he teleports when he laughs. He also can fake laugh. This is the first official Fredbear design, at least, like, you know, animatronic wise, not 8-bit. And the mouth and the chest is very important to the lore because, you know, he bit someone in the face. There's another bear in this game, for some reason, that is quote unquote more important than him, that I hate, and it's this thing. He's Nightmare, but Fredbear, but black. That's it. He changes the purple accessory with yellow ones. He's semi-translucent. I have no idea what he's supposed to do. I don't know what he's supposed to be in the lore. He has voice lines in UCN. He's the second ever character to have a PNG jump scare besides Golden Freddy, which I found kind of important to mention. I was looking at theories, and some believed he's just death itself, but I think he's just another illusion disc. He's sadistic in nature and relishes killing the player in UCN. That's a line, that's like a direct quote from a wiki I read. I really didn't know what to put from that guy. This is Plushtrap. He's a toy version of Springtrap for some reason that spawns in a minigame in between the nights of FNAF 4. He appears in a few other games and appearances, and his mechanic is usually the same: shine a light on him, makes him not move. When successfully beating him, you are rewarded with skipping the first 2 hours of the next night. He's also in the books. Yeah, he's in the FNAF books. This is Jacko Bonnie. He replaces Nightmare Bonnie in the Halloween edition. He has the same mechanics and looks, basically. Him and Jacko Chica appear in FNAF World as Halloween characters. He also returns in Help Wanted, and he also brings Chica with him in Help Wanted. Jacko Chica is a recolor of Chica, same as, you know, Jacko Bonnie, same gameplay, whatever. But she also was given voice lines and was in UCN, unlike her friend Jacko Bonnie. She does a lot of heat-related puns. Yeah. This is Nightmare Mangle. They take the place of Foxy in FNAF 4. They can go on the ceiling when they jump scare you. I forgot about it. Their second head resembles a skull for some reason. In UCN, they're one of the 3 animatronics that we got by buying her plushie. And they make sounds like radio still, just like the original Mangle. They got Nightmare on. They replaced Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear. It's a horrible name. I think they should just be called Nightmare Puppet. He has a PNG jump scare just like Nightmare. He appears with a unique mechanic in UCN, in which the cursor's on his face too long, he kills you, which I like that mechanic a lot. He appears in Help Wanted with a bunch of tentacles and stuff. The player has to shine with a flashlight. Kind of freaky. We got Nightmare Balloon Boy, who replaces Plushtrap in the minigame. And he rewards the player with cheats and also skipping, I think it's half the night instead. Lets him see where the... I think this is wrong. I don't think it rewards the player with cheats. I think I'm just wrong. My bad. He appears in UCN where he attacks when the flashlight hits him if he isn't standing up, but he will attack unless the flashlight is on him and he is standing up. Does that make sense? Don't worry about it. He likes eating the players. He likes eating the player in UCN. He's into that stuff. Now I'm going to go on a slight detour. There's a few of these throughout the presentation. It's still FNAF 4, but I just want to get it out of the way now. This is Fredbear. He makes his main debut in FNAF 4, maybe in FNAF 3 technically, 8-bit wise. And he has a more official design in FNAF World, and his design is like cemented finally in UCN. Fredbear bit the crying child, causing Afton to go on his killing spree and go mad with power and whatnot, theoretically. Fredbear is often believed to associate with the vengeful spirit since he mocks the player in distorted voices once he kills them in UCN. Fredbear is mentioned or seen in minigames, but has not yet appeared in an Office gameplay, apart from his jump scare and voice lines. The Crying Child also had a Fredbear plushie that spoke to him, which we believed was Afton just talking to his son through a radio. I think that's what we still believe. This is Spring Bonnie. It's the suit Afton liked to wear and was on stage besides Fredbear. Later becomes Springtrap. He has multiple renders and versions, including the Yellow Rabbit from the FNAF movie, which is banger. Springlock suits, while we're mentioning it, they're working animatronics that can be turned off and used as human mascot costumes. But if the Springlocks are enabled when it's someone inside of them... We can discuss this later when Springtrap comes back. He always comes back after all. This is Sister Location. What a fun time, am I right? I'm having a fun time. You having a fun time? Speaking of fun time, this is Hand Unit. It's a voice that blasts over the intercom in Sister Location, giving you your tasks for the night, leading the way. He makes appearances in future games, and the voice actor is used in a variety of ways and scenarios of the franchise. At least I think so. It's at least the same type of voice in Pizza Sim and in Seeker the Mimic. It might not be the same guy. I just assumed it was because he sounds so similar. These are the Funtime animatronic designs. Thanks to the in-game lore, we know that the Funtime animatronics were designed and created by William Afton to be able to lure children close to them and snatch them, contain them in their stomachs, at least in Funtime Freddy's case. The animatronics have space inside of them, as I just mentioned, or have some other device, as we know with Baby's little cutscene, to force them inside. Each Funtime animatronic has a speaker to mimic voices, as well as project their own voice. They also have face plates, which can contort, open, and close. It is believed these animatronics were some of the older animatronics in the series, a few originating from before Fredbear's Diner, but some are slightly newer. Where do I get this information from? I don't fucking know. I don't remember making these slides. Please help me. This is Circus Baby. It's a very large animatronic built for Afton's daughter Elizabeth. She technically guides you through the game, which quote-unquote saves your life until she betrays you in the scuba room. She also has a mini-game where she kills Elizabeth. Her eyes before this are blue, but as you can see, her eyes everywhere else are green because, Elizabeth is inhabiting Baby. In UCN, she is the last animatronic of the three that requires a plushie to be bought to stop her. She also appears in the FNAF 4 bedroom in a mini-game in Help Wanted, which probably has some more significance. I'm assuming it's sibling related. Oh, okay. Biddy Babs and Electro Bab. Biddy Babs are gross little childlike robots that hang out with Baby, and they try to open your hiding spot in this location to kill you. In the custom night, however, there is another version of Biddy Bab called Electro Bab, who is similar design-wise apart from their yellow eyes. Electro Bab will start draining your power until you stop him on the cameras. That is all I'm going to say about the Biddy Babs, because I don't really like them. This is Ballora. Ballora is a ballerina with closed eyes, making her effectively blind, but she also has a very good hearing, meaning you could have to move carefully or she will catch you. Afton made her specifically to resemble his wife that he theoretically either lost or ignored or divorced him. There's plenty of options. Ballora usually moves by spinning around, but she can also crawl through the vents to get the player. Is this lore accurate? Good question. This is mini arenas. Think of Ballora, but small. They're like a little armature doll that hang out with Ballora. They crawl on the player to either block their screen, they try to kill the player, they try to crawl into their mouth to, wear them, stuff like that. It is kind of weird, and I don't think it's really brought up enough that both Ballora and Baby have miniature versions of themselves. I still don't know what the fuck the Biddy Bab is for, and I'm angry that we don't mention them more, because what the fuck is a Biddy Bab? Why haven't they appeared more? I'm scared of Biddy Babs. They were like such a big deal back in the day. Why are they disappearing? Anyways, Fun and Foxy, much more feminine, but has a booming announcer's voice as shown in UCN. He is motion activated, and the player most sneak past him in the dock with little beacon that flashes occasionally. He loves performing, and in UCN, he will kill the player if they do not attend his performance on the cameras. He will also have a forced jump scare on the player in Sister Location, which is like a cutscene, and it will not kill the player. Instead, it's the player waking up in a Springlock suit. I will just point out, this character appears in Ladies' Night, but has a masculine voice. Could be something there, Anyways, wanted to say the same character but a recolor. Wobbett's a recolor of Funtime Foxy. It has no physical appearance in sister location, instead only appearing on the monitors in the office and making a loud noise. She will distract the player until the player types LOL on their keyboard. And it also probably isn't a she, but ignore that part. They are robots after all, who cares? Most likely they're, gender neutral. Their first appearance was as shopkeeper for Bites in FNAF World, but this version of them is more their own. And for some reason, in Help Wanted, they gave them eyebrows but painted over them white. Don't know why. Freddy was originally supposed to be German, but instead Scott decided an annoying voice would be fine and fit better. Thank you, Kellen Goff, for voicing my goat. Funtime Freddy is very aggressive to movement, but will calm down if Bon Bon tells him to. So the player can control Bon Bon unless they use Bon Bon too many times to calm them down, and then, they'll kill him anyways. My throat hurts now. He also uses Bon Bon as a projectile to kill the player in the sister location custom night, and the player must block Bon Bon by closing the doors. Speaking of Bon Bon, they can be used by the player to calm down Funtime Freddy. However, during Parts and Circus for Funtime Freddy, Bon Bon will run around and will kill the player unless deactivated by pressing their nose. Or it's right under the nose. I don't know where the button is. Bon Bon is Freddy's hand puppet, which can be detached and will be able to run around and move without legs. I'm assuming they use their arms somehow. I don't know. Kind of weird that they can move without legs. Speaking of moving without legs, here's Bonette. Pink recolor Bon Bon that reuses the same laugh when she appears in the custom night section in sister location, who sprints across the office, killing the player if she makes it to the end, but she can be stopped by pressing her nose. And both of these characters appear in a minigame where you can whack-a-mole them and Help Wanted too. Wow. This is Ennard. It sounds like Innard. Isn't that fun? He's composed of all the Funtime animatronics once they get scooped and they get amalgamated, and then they're the final antagonists that scoop the player and slide on their body to escape the place. They also wear a mask that that hangs above the player throughout the sister location from an Onan animatronic. We don't know whose mask it is, but he puts it on once it happens. He can talk when someone's in control. Obviously, Baby talks in sister location, but usually it's just squeaks, as we can hear in the office section for Ennard, which you have to close the doors to protect him. Yeah, so Baby pilots Ennard, at least in sister location. Yendo, another endoskeleton type thing. It's an endoskeleton of Funtime Freddy, and acts similarly to Golden Freddy during sister location's custom night. I never researched the mechanics, I won't lie. I did it based off memory and vibes. He randomly appears after the camera is put up and goes away if the camera is raised again. He makes very few appearances throughout the series, though he is in Help Wanted, I'm pretty sure. Fairly certain. Now's your chance to connection terminated. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still remember that name, but I'm afraid you've been misinformed. So the only aggressive animatronics in this game are ones you can salvage. All of these animatronics actually are from previous games, with the slight exception of Lefty, but I'll get into that later. They can all be salvaged for some money, I'll tell you the money later. But if they're too damaged by the player during these sections, they will be worth only $100. During salvages, the player dies or successfully salvages. The animatronic will be active during the night segments. Otherwise, the player can throw them out and they will never appear again unless you buy something with blacklisted liability. That's what it is. When purchasing an item with any amount of liability, there's a chance an animatronic will be brought into the pizzeria. So this is the catalog animatronics. This is a majority of the animatronics in the game. The catalog allows players to buy animatronics, and these animatronics are in certain sets, which give achievements, and achievements gives money. The different sets include Trash in the Gang, Mediocre Melodies, Rock Stars, and Posh Pizzeria. The trash is literal trash, and it's pretty cheap. The Mediocre Melodies are similar to FNAF 1 era animatronics, but require an external battery pack to function. The Rockstar animatronics are a bit pricier. There's the main gang, but with a Rockstar theme and new mechanics in UCN, as they have no mechanics in this game. And the Posh Pizzeria animatronics are special, being very expensive. There can be sometimes one for mini games. and they give a large achievement with a lot of money, and are also, all of them actually, in Posh Pizzeria, appear in UCN. We'll start with salvage animatronics. This is Molten Freddy. Circus Baby is ejected from Ennard, and here's what Ennard becomes after fashioning a new Freddy-like face from garbage. He's the cheapest salvage at $500, and he uses Funtime Freddy's voice. He clearly is missing a lot of structure since Baby has been kicked out of the body, but he can crawl through vents just fine. He uses vents in UCN as well. He's just a bunch of spaghetti. He's not too special, but he is similar to a certain other animatronic that appears in Security Breach that we'll get into way later. God, how long have I been talking? This is Scrap Baby. It's now with roller skates. Baby has to rebuild herself out of trash, and she obviously was a little deranged. She gave herself a giant claw so she can kill people easier to make her dad proud, I think is her whole story. She's the second most expensive salvage. I know I didn't do it in order. I'm sorry. Maybe I did. I don't know the prices. I think that she's the second most expensive salvage though. Honestly, it doesn't sound right. Maybe she is like the second cheapest. But she also has a part in the canon ending of Pizzeria Simulator and is erupted for the connection terminated speech. She can be controlled shocked in UCN to deal with her, which is funny because she's not controlled shocked in her debut game. This is Afton, aka Scrap Trap by the fans, but he's called Afton in most other things. Afton is seen presumably after burning in FNAF 3, now with more bones and flesh visible and looking completely different than Springtrap. This is his first appearance, giving Afton a voice, and he's the second least expensive salvage, maybe. He is the only character, when burnt, to be in a different room, or area, theoretically, than the other animatronics in FNAF 6 due to the walls being a different color, but he still becomes the player character in UCN either way. In UCN, Afton, or Scrap Trap as the fans call him, only attacks once per night, very fast. And the thing with the walls being different color, that's up for debate. It just depends. It don't matter. This is the only Scott human we get to see in FNAF, really. We'll never be able to see a Scott human like him again. This is Lefty. He is the only animatronic in both the salvage section and the catalog section, being the most valuable salvage and the cheapest catalog animatronic, rewarding $5,000 and costing $5. Lefty was created to contain the puppet, actually, as you can see in the bottom image, and is the only enemy animatronic in FNAF 6 to not have the ability to teleport once per night, since the coding is always jank in FNAF games. Lefty is sound sensitive in UCN and will become aggravated if it is too loud for too long, and they're called Lefty since they are missing their left eye. Yep. Now we're going to achievements. Trash in the game consists of Mr. Hugs, Pan Stand, Bucket Bob, Number 1 Crate, and Mr. Can Do. The cheapest FNAF 6 animatronics made out of literal garbage, and none are very deadly, except for maybe Mr. Hugs. However, in UCN, Pan Stand is nowhere to be found, but the others can be found, distracting and annoying the player. And Mr. Hugs even has their own FNAF game that Toy Freddy plays in UCN. This is the mediocre melodies. Orville the Elephant, Mr. Hippo, Ned Bear, Happy Frog, and Pig Patched. I almost got them in order. Damn, unfortunate. They're all external battery-powered animatronics that likely competed with Freddy's in the past, but were either bought out or bankrupted. Theoretically, they were bought out, considering that they are now part of Freddy's. They are harmless in FNAF 6, but in UCN they appear as the ducked animatronics, only being stopped by audio lures and heat in the ducks. Mr. Hippo famously gives long speeches when they kill the player character in UCN, but the others also have voice lines, and they give the player lore about the one that Afton shouldn't have killed, having a whisper in their voice lines occasionally. That isn't their own. This is Rockstars Assemble, the achievement. It's the main cast, including Lefty. So we got Rockstar Bonnie, Rockstar Freddy, Rockstar Chica, Rockstar Foxy, and Lefty. They are not dangerous, but come with liability when purchased, and all of them return to UCN with new mechanics. Fox is a gamble. When you click his bird, maybe he kills you, maybe he helps you. Freddy is capitalism. He asks for 5 coins, or can be killed with a heater. Chica is afraid of wet floors, so just put a wet floor sign and she won't be able to get you. And Bonnie is inept. He's stupid. He wants you to help him find his guitar. All of them are given voices in UCN. Rockstar Freddy even got a blacklight recolor for merchandise for some reason. You may think that's a throwaway line. I did too, and I wrote that. We'll go back to the blacklight animatronics in an hour. For the final achievement, we have Posh Pizzeria. I haven't talked about those guys yet. I wonder if they're even in here. I hope they are. Only 3 animatronics are required for this achievement, but don't worry about it. We'll get to the other ones. We have El Chip, Funtime Chica, and Music Man. All are super expensive, really, compared to the other ones. But Funtime Chica and Music Man can be prizes won for minigames. El Chip is the cheapest out of the 3 of them. And all of them are turn and use with mechanics. El Chip has a little ad the player must skip. Funtime Chica distracts the player with, like, images and snapping and, pictures. Picture taking, rather. That's the way I meant by snapping. And Music Man is like a spider thing that has weird lore. I don't like him. And he is aggravated by noise. And El Chip is actually based on of Chipper, which is one of Scott's old characters, which we'll get into later. Helpy is now the new mascot of FNAF, at least I think so. And this game was his debut. He plays the minigames, does your taxes and lawsuits, overall nice. But in UCN, he's noisy. He's always partying. He's got air horns. He's made many a pizzeria. He'll continue. He's made a lot of appearances since Pizzeria Simulator. He'll likely continue to. And he has some other variants, such as Helpy, but with an I. And the player must also make Helpy healthy in a minigame during Help 1 and 2. Have I said help enough? This is a security puppet. He got a weird little thing on the back of his head, but in the minigame he doesn't. Kind of weird, ain't it? Maybe it's the first version of Puppet, or it's a remade version of Puppet. It's a placeable that increases the safety by keeping track of children. And they have a little minigame where they keep track of children. They're looking for a kid with a green wristband. However, the one with the green wristband is Charlie and Emily, who actually was trapped outside of the location. And we see in FNAF 2 a person get murdered outside of a location. And this is Charlie and Emily. At the end of the minigame, we see the puppet lie down next to Charlie, and we know that they get possessed by Charlie. They're important for the lore. They deserve their own section. I won't go over any other placeables. I'm not talking about Egg Baby. I will talk about Candy to Get, because he's technically a bit more than replaceable. Candy Cadet likes to give children candy, and if you are lucky, he will tell you a story. He has a very robotic voice. All of his stories are very unsettling, usually involving death or a common theme of 5 becoming 1, which references NR, Ennard, or some other amalgamation. I'll be nice. I'll fix this for your sake. Don't edit it out of the video. He mentions the box from FNAF 4 in his little stories, which never opened. However, after FNAF 6, we never saw him again, really, except for in UCN, and then we saw him decrepit and destroyed in Security Breach. His candies and pizza sim do give the player some money, however, which is pretty nice. Let's see, these are all the other placeables. There's like Lemonade Clowns, Fruit Punch Clowns, Prize King. There's the Egg Baby. I don't want to talk about all of them, but they don't get their own page. They're placeables. They have mini games. These 3 have mini games. I don't know if Egg Baby does. But yeah, perfect games with the 2 clowns result in a lot more points. The Prize King is gambling. You can win Funtime Chica, but most likely you'll earn nothing. They're never a threat, and they don't really appear that often. They usually appear as references. They don't really appear ever. And this is an honorable mention that honorable mention of FNAF World Halloween Edition. I didn't know I had this slide. Before the release of FNAF World, he posted a troll demo. There are 4 troll demos throughout the series, but this one I feel is not only the best, but also actually somewhat relevant to FNAF. We see Purple Geist, which is a strange version of Purple Guy, which becomes in the actual FNAF World later. And a bunch of other animatronic enemies that we really never see again. But a couple of them, they're interesting. It may not be canon. I feel like it's important to bring up because Purple Geist does appear later. Speaking of FNAF World, we're going to do FNAF World. Adventure animatronics. I'm not going over all of them, but every equipable animatronic in this game, besides a few I guess, have appeared before, but they are now given the prefix Adventure. for this version. The only difference between this and the original versions is that they can attack people. They have 3 different attacks. They each have 3 moves. They all have different health. The top of the list has less health than the bottom of the list. It goes up by 5 with each thing. Adventure animatronics are found randomly after battles of FNAF worlds. They join your party if you beat them, except for Halloween update characters and the main cast, because the main cast start in your party, and the Halloween characters are earned with mini-games. The mini-games include Foxy.exe, Freddy in Space, Foxy Fighters, and Chica's Magic Rainbow. This is Endo Plush. It's the weirdest addition to the FNAF World roster. It comes out of nowhere, and it never returns. This is probably the endoskeleton of a plush trap, or plushies in general, like Plush Baby. But it's so uncertain, it's so annoying. It's like the weakest animatronic in the game, and it's only added because character quota, as the game itself says. He's kind of cute, but not really. But like, it's fucking Endo Plush. What am I supposed to fucking say about him? Anyways, this is the official Toy Foxy in the series, aka Funtime Foxy. It's a very useful and powerful support character with gift boxes. He predates the actual Funtime animatronic Foxy in sister location, and the FNAF World version of Lolbit is a recolor of Toy Foxy instead, noticeably lacking the usual chest speaker and faceplates. FNAF World did technically tease the next actual FNAF game later, so it's possible that Scott not only chose to name Funtime Foxy as a tease to a sister location. It is very strange how this is the only restored Mangle, though. Like, I think it's pretty weird. I still don't like how it's the only restored version of Mangle that we know about. This is Mendo. He only has appeared in this game, selling new endoskeletons to the player, which increases their party's defense. This isn't super important or anything, but this does mean that endoskeletons can be replaced. But this makes me just wonder: is the spirit associated with the suit or the endoskeleton? Is it the same animatronic if you replace the endoskeleton? Is it the same animatronic if you replace the suit? Like, Mendo also must be the most powerful or most important endoskeleton if he's selling endoskeleton upgrades, and he's like huge. Perhaps you buying upgrades only makes Mendo like physically add to the endoskeleton instead of replacing him. Like, maybe he like just shoves new material onto your endoskeleton. Anyways, that's enough theorizing. This is Coffee. He comes from one of Scott's previous games, The Desolate Hope. He is a Halloween character, so he's very powerful after being unlocked from minigame. He makes an appearance in the FNAF movie as an actual functioning coffee pot, I'm pretty sure. He might not have been. He might have been replaced last minute by a different prop. But Coffee may return, as Edwin had built a coffee maker as one of his many inventions leading up to the creation of Mimic. So I think he does return. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh, it's Orpal Guy. Purple Guy makes another appearance under his official nickname, given by the fact he's always some shade of purple, except when he isn't. He's a Halloween character, so he's pretty good, but it is strange that there's a little mention of his past in this game. And the animatronics fight alongside him just fine. His FNAF World design is clearly based off of his FNAF 3 minigame appearances. It says he takes 10 seconds to draw. But yeah, he's appeared since FNAF 2, it's just that, like, what's his deal, you know? What's his deal? He's weird. Anyways, this is Scott Cawthon himself, or Anim Dude. He's the final boss of the hard mode of FNAF World. Scott Cawthon is the final boss, at least. He's based off of Scott Cawthon's profile picture, and one of his previous games, I believe, because that's what his profile picture is based off of. He has a very powerful fourth wall attack that the player can use once he is unlocked during the Halloween minigames, but obviously it's much weaker when the player unlocks it. As a boss, he appears to be Scott himself and curses the player base for always wanting more, and he later appears throughout the series as an Easter egg later on, especially Scott's, little portrait. I imagine that these are like the same person. Like, Anim Dude is basically Scott Cawthon. It's just a different name. It's the character instead of, Scott Cawthon. We're going to talk about both Chipper and Chipper's Revenge here. So both of them are based off of Chipper's Lumber Co. So yeah, it's similar to like the previous slide where Chipper can be unlocked in the Halloween update, but Chipper's Revenge is a boss. Chipper's Revenge can be found by going off screen with the key in one of the mines. It has like basically every boss move and killing move in the game. Chipper's Revenge is hell-bent on getting back at FNAF for stealing the spotlight. It's technically not the final boss and more of a secret, but it awards the trophy like all the other bosses, so that's pretty cool. You've heard me say Magic Rainbow, and you might be a bit confused. This is the real final boss of the Halloween update. They crush Purple Geist. They have like an impossible amount of health to defeat, and they literally beat you after 3 minutes. Like, you just can't do anything. You just lose after 3 minutes. Chica's Magic Rainbow starts as an annoying and difficult unfair minigame to earn some Halloween characters. So you do know who they are before the final boss. And then after you spend a lot of time unlocking all the characters, you go to fight Purple Geist, and then she appears. It's I thought it's only possible to beat her using Slasher, a move that has a 1 in 10 chance to do like insanely massive damage. You need like 3 slashers minimum to beat her, but if you get a 4th, you basically just win. She appears throughout the series as an Easter egg, setting off many players' PTSD after beating her minigames. She appears in the FNAF movie as well. It's a security hour. Security is the final boss in normal mode, and the second to last boss in hard mode, which it stops the player from getting straight to Scott. They sit in Penal Circus. They're right behind like 5 different gates that the player must turn off, deactivate by defeating huge bosses on the map. This owl forces the player to have a shield up, since their alarm attack will deal 999 damage to any or all party members if it connects. While not super difficult or important, they do reward a trophy, so I think it should be, talked about. And they have been to other appearances, and they also were inspired an enemy in Case Animatronics, I believe. They share a name with another security, but don't worry about it. Anyways, many enemies in FNAF World are unique and are often straight up OCs, animatronic recolors, or inanimate objects with eyes. Some enemies are even recolors of each other. Enemies attack at random, having a chance to appear every step you take and become more stronger with each new location the player discovers. And some enemies, such as Bomb Spot, one of the first, appear as little Easter eggs in future games, like on the desk in UCM. This is Ultimate Custom Night. This section's probably gonna be a long one. It's not a long section. It's actually a very short section. There wasn't many new things to talk about. Yeah, this is DD. They're originally from FNAF World, but I didn't mention them. But yeah, in FNAF World, they have a little fishing minigame, which gives you money. But in UCN, she's basically a demonic asshole. When she appears, she sings a little annoying jingle. She sings an annoying jingle. She promptly summons a new character into your night. The character will be set a random AI value and can even not be on the roster, instead on Dee Dee's own secret roster. The characters on her secret roster that you can't normally turn on by yourself are RXQ, Plush Trap, Nightmare Chica, the Mini Arenas, Lolbit, and Bonnet. And XOR also appears, who is Shadow Dee Dee. This is their original appearance. They appear just like Dee Dee, except only when the player's points are set to exactly what they are on 50/20. They summon 3 new animatronics instead of just 1. I've been told they can summon more, but that might be wrong. Instead of the normal dance and jingle, they glitch around the office, play a distorted, deep version of Dee Dee's usual song. And yeah, that's basically all there is about XOR. Now, Old Man Consequences is a strange one. They do originally appear in FNAF World, but in here, this is where people learn about them more often, I feel like. That's a possible end to the game on the 4th layer of reality, but in UCN, he warns the spirit instead to leave Afton alone. Old Man Consequences later appears as an actual old man in Princess Quest as Old Man Conqueror or something, Old Man something, I don't know what he's called. But he usually gives wisdom, he's very wise. But in UCN, his mechanic is that you have to catch a fish or he disables cameras. So yeah, pretty tough. This is Phone Guy. He appears in basically every FNAF game, really. But the guy in UCN is the guy from FNAF 1. A mute button will appear somewhere in the office, somewhere on your screen, and the player must click it, otherwise the guy will start talking and add noise. It is theorized that he's in UCN because his spirit connected to the closest thing to him once he died. the phone that he was holding while recording the messages for us in FNAF 1. And he's also originally voiced by Scott Cawthon himself, I'm pretty sure, which is pretty nice. And another honorable mention are the UCN cutscenes. After scoring above a certain number of points, you will get cutscenes. There's 3 different genres of cutscenes, in my opinion. There's the Yandere Chica ones, the Samurai Freddy ones, and the Final Golden Freddy cutscene for beating 4920 or 5020. These cutscenes are really weird and feel both out of place yet completely accurate for the series. And they have a few lines that may even be important to the story. I will still rather forget these exist though, because I don't want to deal with them. And Help Wanted, this is where the story gets kind of weirder. Here's a plush baby. They come in many variants with colors like red, yellow, and blue, as well as masked and unmasked and scrapped and not scrapped variants. They giggle and appear in the dark, disappearing with flashlights on for a bit. They also make a brief Easter egg appearance in Security Breach. And they also help Baby in her FNAF 4 room levels, so that way you can't just keep the door closed the entire time. This is Nightmare Endo. He's a minor Easter egg in Help Wanted, but I suppose it's good enough to bring attention to. He's much thicker than the other Endos, with much sharper claws and teeth, and their head is similar to a human skull almost. This endoskeleton belongs to Nightmare Fredbear, and can be seen in FNAF 4 alongside of Nightmare as well. My throat hurts so bad that I actually am going to take a break. I'm over halfway though. Well, we're so far in. Might as well keep going. Alright. God, this is the worst video I ever come up with. The hard mode variants. Help Wanted has a toggleable hard mode that makes each minigame harder. Some of these games like Vent Repair and Parts and Service have different animatronic variants once in hard mode. These variants include Burnt Foxy, Dark Freddy, Neon Bonnie, Neon Chica, and Shadow Mingle, as shown on the bottom of the screen. It's pretty obvious how they look based on their names alone, but all hard mode variants seem darker than normal, or they're just straight up pitch black. And in hard mode, the challenge comes from other aspects of the the game, instead of the animatronics just looking different. Each one of these characters doesn't really change much, they just are a different character technically. Moving right along, we have Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap is an AI mimicking William Afton and taking on his supposed form. He slowly gets closer throughout Help Wanted, behind the player, eventually luring the player in and trapping them during the final minigame, and he escapes using their body into the real world. However, he can also manipulate and infect a person's mind, making them follow his will, which is happening to the playtester Vanessa, who we will talk about later. And Glitch Trap is seen once again in Help Wanted 2, where he's crushed. He's also a skin in Dead by Daylight. This is Dreadbear. He's a Frankenstein version of Freddy Fazbear, and he is incredibly slow but strong. The player helps bring him to life in Help Wanted, and he attacks the player in a separate minigame, only slowing down once flashed with a light. His stomach has a big hole in it, referencing Nightmare Fredbear presumably, while his design still resembles more Freddy than I would say Fredbear. He does have some Nightmare characteristics while also resembling FNAF 1. I think it's pretty cool design altogether. Next we have Grim Foxy, which is the final, at least that I know of so far, Halloween reskin of the main squad. Grim Foxy roams a corn maze in search of the player. He is incredibly fast when lunging and charging, but moves slowly otherwise, as if on the hunt, on the prowl, you know? He's always on fire, just like the other Jack-o'-lantern animatronics. And his hook is much larger, resembling a scythe or sickle maybe. And he also makes an appearance in 8-bit form in Princess Quest. And another detour. FNAF AR. I did not want to write every single skin. I'm so sorry, but I just couldn't. Special Delivery was a game where Fazbear Entertainment would send out animatronics to people's houses for various events. In doing so, they made many different versions of the same animatronics, which we call skins. I don't think there were over 50 skins in the game. There might have been like 35. I think I was over exaggerating. There was not 50 skins. But yeah, I'm not going over all of them. The main thing about skins is that they are technically other animatronics, which is why I'm bringing them up. and they most likely, 90% of them, aren't going to reappear in the series. A few of the Springtrap ones, though, do appear in Dead by Daylight. And another detour right here is we have Scott Made Games. As previously mentioned, the FNAF World Halloween Edition troll game was one of them. But anyways, Scott used to make troll game demos before releasing a FNAF game. It was FNAF 3, FNAF 4, Sister Location, and FNAF World. Those were the games that had a troll demo. And all of these troll games were just reskins of old games that he had made before then. And in more recent years, he actually has made spin-offs, including Fury's Rage, which was to give fans some content due to Security Breach being delayed over and over again. Freddy in Space 2 was released to donate to charity. Matt Pat got to play the game, and however much money he got would be donated to charity. And then Chica in Space was made to hype up the FNAF movie, and was even given a YouTube URL to leak the movie a little bit. I'm not going to go over the enemies or anything in this game, so you're just going to have to know they exist. And now we're on to Security Breach. I love this game because of Astral Spiff, my goat. He could do this part way better than me, but we're just going to start with Gregbot. We got Gregory here. He's the player character in Security Breach, hiding inside of Freddy while surviving in the Pizzaplex. It is theorized that Gregory is actually not human but a robot due to voice lines in game, as well as the resemblance to Afton's crying child. Gregory also appears as a boss in Freddy in Space 3, riding as a Freddy Mac. Gregory being a robot has many things to support it, but many fans in the past dislike this theory, despite making even wilder theories at the same time. Here's an overview. The Glamrock animatronics are the only animatronics presumed to not be possessed, with the exception of Freddy. We'll get into that later. They instead attack Gregory after being infected with a virus that Freddy doesn't get since he's booted in safe mode. Throughout this singular night, the animatronics get progressively dirtier, and Gregory eventually destroys them all in some way, creating the shattered animatronics, which are just damaged versions of the Glamrocks. First we have Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is the only animatronic not to try to catch Gregory, and instead help him survive. He has room in his stomach for prizes and birthday cake, which Gregory uses as a hiding spot. Freddy can be upgraded with the other animatronics parts, getting new eyes from Moxie, new claws from Monty, and a voice box from Chica. There is a theory that Gregory is also possessed by Michael Afton. We will discuss when we talk about humans. However, Freddy will still kill Gregory if he runs out of power or if Gregory fails during an upgrade segment. This is Glamrock Chica. Chica wears some classic retro designs in this version. She sometimes has been given a different guitar that she is supposed to have, which is kind of funny. She's given a completely different model. She's the main guitar player of the group. She is the most hungry Chica we've seen, constantly looking for food and eating trash. Gregory smashes her in a garbage crusher and steals her beak to upgrade Freddy, leaving her unable to speak. So on the top is Glamrock Bomb Shattered. Roxy is a female and 80s themed version of Foxy, now as a wolf instead of a fox. She loves praise and is narcissistic, but also has a lot of self-hatred in her dialogue, talking to herself. Gregory crashes a go-kart into her and steals her eyes to upgrade Freddy, causing her to be blind and lunge at the player whenever they make a noise. She holds a keytar in the band, a guitar and keyboard mix. At the top we have the shattered version, at the bottom we have regular Glamrock. Montgomery Gator. Monty is the bassist of the band, taking the place of Bonnie after Monty was involved in their disappearance. Monty is incredibly aggressive, breaking things and raging often, hence why it is assumed that he was involved in Bonnie's disappearance, despite the Pizzaplex acting as if Bonnie bestowed the position to Monty. After falling down and being torn in half, Gregory steals Monty's claws to upgrade Freddy. Monty's claws are sharp and strong, as it is a requirement for the bassist to have claws, meaning Bonnie must also have had something similar. This is the daycare attendant, aka Sun and Moon. The daycare attendant takes care of all the little kids and has two separate personalities, Sun and Moon. Sun is energetic but very clingy, while Moon likes the quiet and punishes those who are naughty. Sun is afraid of the dark because then Moon comes out, while Moon hates the light since Sun comes out. Moon also is let free to roam the Pizzaplex every hour for some reason. I believe it's for security reasons or something. I forget the lore of the game. This character technically doesn't exist, but technically also does. He makes a surprising reappearance. He's a glam rock Mr. Hippo. He joins the band if Monty were to become the new face of Fazbear Entertainment, and he'd use the triangle as shown in this image. Even in Security Breach, the only other time Mr. Hippo is mentioned is when Gregory receives a magnet of their face, in which case both him and Freddy seem annoyed or upset. I don't know why this exists. It doesn't make much sense, but fair enough. Now here's the Glamrock endoskeleton. This is the base for all Glamrock animatronics, we assume. They are actually a threat. They only move when not being observed, similar to a weeping angel. They are found in various places throughout the Pizzaplex, especially down below, like in the utility tunnels, meaning that either the company was going to make more animatronics, or these animatronics were made specifically to keep unwanted guests out, or better yet, to kill intruders entirely. I didn't write this down, but I will mention that the Joy of Creation sort of took this concept first with their endoskeletons that move when you only don't look at them. Now we have the Music Men. So now there's the Tiny Music Men. He's a marketable toy, and a few of these toys are faulty and roam the Pizzaplex through the vents. And now the new version of Music Man is actually a giant DJ Music Man in the arcade, moving through giant tunnels to patrol the arcade and other various areas. DJ Music Man loves music and will perform a majority of the time, only chasing or attacking the player when they mess with the levers in the arcade. Noticeably, the original Music Man has different legs, and more of them, while the DJ only has a few arms and hands. I would say the tiny ones resemble the original more, and this is the big one. Next we have a two-for-one deal. We have Vanessa down at the bottom, is the night guard searching for Gregory during Security Breach, who is also being influenced by the Afton virus. Vanessa puts on her own homemade bunny suit, then going by Vanny, who's up top. Vanny is responsible for numerous disappearances in the Pizzaplex, killing people just like Afton. Some endings of Security Breach have Vanessa being cured or dying, and her absence and ruined makes it unclear where she ended up. She has something in her bunny suit that makes her invisible to the animatronics, except with the eye upgrade. And I will say she does actually appear in Ruined in the Brazil ending. Don't ask about the Brazil ending. This is the Staff Bots. It is unsure what the acronym stands for, but Staff Bots are humanoid robots that take care of the Pizzaplex to not waste money on employees. Don't ask how that makes sense. Staff Bots have many variants and jobs throughout the Pizzaplex, including a few specialized ones. They are usually harmless, but a specific section of the game can have Gregory fall into a pit of the creepy variant of Staff Bots that resemble Nightmare On, and he dies. These Nightmare On Staff Bots have a permanent smile and glowing eyes, making them very unique to the other Staff Bot variants. And the fact that multiple of them can band together to actually pull you down and kill you makes it kind of interesting to see what the hell is up with that. Now, the Caution Bots are located throughout the Pizzaplex, trying to face the player once they get too close. The bots do nothing in Security Breach, but can be powered down and ruined. Once every bot is powered down and ruined, Glamrock Bonnie's eyes change their glow. Whether this means something or it's just an Easter egg, who knows? Steelwell is an insane game designing company. This is Mapbot. Mapbot is a specialized staff bot that gives the player access to maps. Vanessa also pushes Mapbot out of the I can't talk. They push Mapbot out of the way to bring the player to a locked room at 2 a.m. Mapbot later becomes Masterbot in Ruin, and some theorize that Masterbot is possessed by the father of the player character in Ruin for some reason. I missed that part of the lore, but Masterbot has the same voice as Mapbot, the key difference being that they give you a mask instead of the map. I love Mapbot. I love Mapbot. So Burn Trap emerges from a charging station and starts hacking Freddy in one of the final endings of Security Breach. He is much different than Scrap Trap, and people have theorized he was rebuilt using Bonnie, or was actually the Mimic. Gregory defeats Afton by burning him a few times, which means that every time Afton is alive in some way, he ends up burnt. The game ends when Burn Trap gets grabbed and dragged away by the Blob. Kind of weird little thing. Speaking of the Blob, here's what the Blob is, aka Tangle. The Blob is an amalgamation of every animatronic's anger and doesn't have many, or possibly any, souls in it. The Blob stole some pieces and props from display cases throughout the Pizzaplex, hence why he has various animatronics within him. The animatronics seen within the blob are from FNAF 1, 2, and Sister Location. He is very aggressive since he has so much hatred feeling itself, and he makes a brief cameo in Easter egg in Ruined for like a split second, which means that he does actually exist. Oh yeah, speaking of Ruined, it's technically a different game. So here we have Cassie. Cassie was lured into the destroyed Pizzaplex by Gregory in hopes to help save him. Cassie used to go to the Pizzaplex while it was open, often having birthdays there. Cassie is much slower than Gregory, but she did have a father that worked for Fazbear Entertainment and was some sort of engineer. Roxy is her favorite animatronic. Cassie eventually falls down an elevator and presumed dead in one of the endings to the DLC. This is Helpy. Now with a new techie uniform, Helpy is an AI that helps Cassie throughout Ruined. Eventually, he deactivates the entity. It's unclear if Helpy works with the Mimic or is against the Mimic, since the entity is the thing that keeps the Mimic trapped. Helpy teaches Cassie what to do and gets corrupted throughout the game as well. This is Mixes, or otherwise known as the Entity. The Entity comes from the Mixes program, designed to contain the Mimic and combat the glitch trap virus. However, throughout the game, it will try to get Cassie killed by luring animatronics towards her and preventing her from taking the mask on and off. Lovingly called Peg Trap by some, he cannot physically kill the player, but will jump scare them occasionally. This is Runeborn Afton, he always comes back. Hidden in the game files, a beta design for Mixes was found. There's a variety of names people have called this design, but my favorite is Runeborn Afton. He has a more similar design to a rabbit than a person, which is the opposite of Mixes. He also has a few surviving animations, meaning that he was scrapped fairly late into the creation of the game. He's more purple than the official design, making him even closer to Afton. He also has this strange blue heart as his center. I think it's very fascinating, what we almost had. Now this is Ruined Monty. Monty now swims in the water, losing all of his outer shell for the most part. He canonically dies in Ruined by being electrocuted in the water. We get to see his endoskeleton and how similar it is, yet different to the Glamrock endoskeleton base from the base game. As you can see, it has like sort of the same arms, the same torso, but his head's almost completely custom. This is Ruined Chica. Ew. Ruined Chica is now covered in trash and mold from her trying to eat after being destroyed. She eventually becomes dysfunctional, and the player can optionally give her the beak back that Gregory previously sold. However, giving this beak back has no effect on gameplay, story, endings, or more. She still screeches like before, and it is clear her endoskeleton is almost the same as a regular Glamrock base. This is Ruined Roxy. Roxy was so depressed she put a mask on for Ruined. Cassie can see Roxy through the mask, which makes her seem repaired. And this version of Roxy is known as AR Roxy. Roxy is very kind to Cassie in Ruined and even saves her life if Cassie tries to shut Roxy down. Roxy in Ruined is the only animatronic to seem to remain functional by the end. However, she has an uncertain fate. This is Ruined Freddy. Freddy has gone through some things, now missing his head and having an eerily similar stomach to Nightmare Fredbear. He holds a gift inside of his stomach that the player gets shoved into if they are caught, though we never see what is inside. This Freddy has the word prototype on his foot, and some have theorized that this isn't the same Glamrock Freddy as in Security Breach, but it is unsure. Unsure and unclear. Eclipse. In Ruined, Cassie helps a broken sun and moon, fighting for control, and brings out Eclipse. Eclipse is a more healthy version, combining the two personalities, although we only get to see Eclipse in this Ruined state. Eclipse is very kind and caring, but also follows the rules. It's possible in Ruined to get killed by sun and moon through going up to them when you aren't supposed to, though this shouldn't happen in normal playthrough. Not much to say, he acts awfully calm for someone that's almost destroyed. Now look at Glamrock Bonnie. Hiding away in the bowling alley in a secret room where we find the corpse of Glamrock Bonnie. His eye glows, but once the caution bots are off, the eye stops glowing as if the spirit moved on. This would support the theory about some Glamrocks having spirits inside them, but it's very unclear, because it's Five Nights at Freddy's and it's always unclear. This version of Glamrock Bonnie looks nothing like the Bonnie on the side of Bonnie Bowling, meaning either Fazbear rebranded after their disappearance, or never liked this version and used the old one instead, which would explain why they didn't care as much when it disappeared. Now here's the Ruined Music Men. The wind-up toys are now disfigured and much more deadly, almost purposefully sold. So, Meanwhile, the DJ is only seen in later games. He's missing some features, but still acts similarly. The wind-up toys must be lured away during the room for the player to progress to the next areas past them. And this is for, you only see the big guy in Help 1 2. Now it's time for the Mimic, the new main antagonist of FNAF. The Mimic is an AI robot that can shift and move, fitting any size suit and mimicking things it sees. It has a few suits at the end of the room, but it really only ever mimics Gregory's voice to lure Cassie into its lair and tries to kill her. The Mimic knows violence due to its creator Edwin beating it up through the rage of losing his son David. The Mimic was mimicking David. Crazy. Being a constant reminder of Edwin's pain until Edwin snapped. The Mimic will probably come up later in this presentation, unfortunately, because I'm not the biggest fan of the Mimic. Help 1 2. God, I would love some help to finish this joke. Anyways. Before we get too far, I should mention Princess Quest. I've brought it up before, but there's roughly 4 Princess Quest games ever since Help 1 1. You play as a princess, you fight glitch trap enemies, and all resembling like a blob-like bunny. The game also introduces the old man, who's a human, unlike his crocodile counterpart of Old Man Consequences. And the princess lights torches, kills enemies, and eventually dies to the protagonist of Help 1 2. Captain Foxy. Foxy is now a true captain and pilots the log ride. If the player sucks, he'll kill him. He's the main character along the log ride, yet the animatronic only appears at the start and end of that ride. Getting any rank above the lowest will save the player from his wrath. He does appear in Help 1 1, but I like him in Help 1 2 a bit more. Now we have Mystic Hippo, who's exclusive to the PlayStation VR version of the game and serves as a fortune teller, being able to tell the player what card they're looking at. She's clearly related to Mr. Hippo, but is not seen outside of her little box and minigame, and I don't quite know her significance yet. Next we have the Carney. He acts as an announcer for a few of the minigames Help 1 2, and sits in his booth to the side of the minigame saying voice lines. He resembles a rockstar animatronic, yet clearly isn't Lefty or Freddy, making it unclear where he originated, possibly from Murray's Costume Man at times, though most likely not. The player destroys Carney eventually, setting him on fire and burning him alive, even though he technically isn't alive, maybe. And now we got Jacko Moon. I don't know why they came up with this design. He is an antagonist of log ride levels and minigames, and the player must shoot a specific light to get him to go away, or he'll jump scare the player. They look like sun instead of mood, and I don't know why. I don't like them. We're gonna keep going. My name is Edwin. I made the Mick. It was difficult to put the pieces together. Yeah, this is the mascot suits. The Mimic can wear various suits around the map and will run at the player to try and kill them. There are a few returning suits from Security Breach, but many of the suits are brand new, either early versions of FNAF characters or book character tie-ins, such as Party Chica or the White Tiger. And the Mimic can contort, expand, shrink, and manipulate his body to fit any suit, which means that other animatronics can become suits as well, as we will explain later. I will not talk about any other mascot suits really, but I will talk about Jackie, who is one of the first threats in the game, being incredibly strong and having very long extendable arms coming out of their box. Just like the other animatronics, Jackie is their own animatronic, but they are being piloted by the Mimic eventually, and Jackie usually, she rips herself out of her box, hence why she has no legs. Next we got Big Top, which is the original, probably, Music Man variant, being the center of the game area and offering tickets and prizes to everyone. And his teeth play like a little song with a spinning cylinder, like a music box. And the Mimic does eventually pilot Big Top, which means that he can and will fit any suit. Big Top also scans the area in a section and will kill the player if he spots them, and his attention is drawn by the mannequins that surround the player. We got Dolly here. Dolly is a nurse from the animatronics at the MCM, which stands for Murray Costume Manor. However, she thinks the player is an animatronic and wants them dismantled. She is a recycler, and she also has electric hands for short-circuiting or powering animatronics. The player eventually pushes her into the trash incinerator, yet she comes back still. Dolly is meant to be a recycler, and she's connected to a rail system that, much like every other antagonist, she rips herself off of while trying to get to the player. Next we have the prototype animatronics. This includes the main cast of prototype animatronics and the Springtrap and Spring Bonnie and Fredbear versions. All the prototypes are in the development wing of the manor and are barely functional apart from their springlock suits. While this does give fans more information on the beginning of Freddy's, it does challenge the design of Glitchtrap, who we imagine is what Afton thinks he looks like in the spring bonnie suit. Because if this is the prototype, that means like the original suit must have been metal, right? Unless the original suit was before he even got metal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just move on. We have the mannequins here. These are humanoid figures that don't do much. They don't move, at least when they're watched. They each have a speaker saying lines that a visitor might, and they are meant to represent the potential the MCM has to offer to convince investors. They act as a nuisance by making noise and blocking the way throughout the game, and also a few jump scares. Mr. and Mrs. Helpful. They are voiced by Mr. and Mrs. Murray, and guide the player through the tour the investors were meant to go through. Obviously, these are what later became Helpy. And the animatronics are attached to some sort of mechanical arm, allowing them to lean and make them more lively. Next, we have the puppet crew and the little puppet show. The little puppet show has the first appearance of Fox the Fox, as well as Roxanne Wolf, and a few other characters such as Kit, Boston, and Renard. Foxy's not the ship here, surprisingly enough, and there is a second little puppet Foxy actually. Because Foxy is actually a bigger puppet, but there's a second Foxy that appears during the same thing, but I don't have him here. So just an overview, like the springlock suits. The player can enter springlock suits. Some are recurring characters to the series, while some are new, such as Bub and Pyre Captain. When in a suit, the mimic can't kill the player, and the suits can be used to drain the power in the manor to unlock areas. Bub specifically has gotten interest, as they resemble the Sparky reference with the FNAF movie, making some fans theorize they're like the same, or like sort of the same thing. I'm interested to see where that goes. Next we have the Cleanovacs, which are scattered throughout the manor and clean the floors. They resemble the caution bots from Security Breach and are likely the original that the company would later repurpose for the Pizzaplex. In-game, they aren't a threat, and the player can even pet them. This is one of Edwin's inventions predating the Mimic, and part of it was repurposed when creating the Mimic along with the Digityper. Speaking of the Digityper, Edwin invented the Digityper to replace staff members, and obviously this invention was reused to create the staff bots in Security Breach. There are multiple supposed Digitypers, with one being thrown by Jackie, showing that while they are advanced, they are very much breakable, and are fairly light considering they've just got thrown. They have little wheels and a body similar to an old computer, so they can be programmed really coded with these, I'm assuming. And now we have other humans in the series. Yeah, even wonder what your eyes have been water and trying to see when I'm gonna talk about these guys. But well, first I'm gonna mention the missing children and also the significance of Journey. We know the names of a few of the victims of Afton, as well as several people who have died in the series. The gravestones at this ending here of I think FNAF 6 show the names of the main cast. And interestingly enough, there are a few instances where people have the same name. There's 3 separate Jeremys in the franchise. One was a missing child, one was a night guard, and one was a VR playtester who sliced their face off. That night guard's very interesting, actually. I'm pretty sure he was the Bite of 87. I can't remember exactly, though. Elizabeth Afton was Afton's daughter and youngest child, probably. She disobeyed her father and got too close to Circus Baby and ends up dying. And she goes on to possess Circus Baby, and she wants to make her father proud by following in his footsteps and killing people. She seems to want to make Afton proud, and she never grows out of her need for validation. But, we'll move on. Next we have Crying Child, like, Afton's kid, but we don't know his name. Some have guessed it's Evan, but probably not. It's probably not Evan. It might be Cassidy, but it's not Cassidy, probably. His brother torments him relentlessly, and the kid is traumatized for seeing things he was never meant to, and his brother's friends all push him into Fredbear's mouth during his birthday, in which Fredbear bites him down and kills him in the Bite of 83. Then Afton promises to put his son back together, and his son goes on to possess Golden Freddy, we think, as one of the 2 spirits inside the suit. Speaking of Michael is the protagonist of the original games, going under different pseudonyms to destroy the various locations and end his father's legacy. He gets scooped in the sister location and becomes a walking corpse, never truly staying dead, just like his father. He is the protagonist of the original games, up to Pizzeria Simulator, in which he dies along with his family and the other animatronics in the fire. However, he still may be around, some theorize, possessing an animatronic or a suit. We'll never know for sure. Charlie and Emily Emily is theoretically the first victim of William Afton. She is locked outside of the FNAF 2 location where she got killed by a heartbroken, possibly drunk Afton, eventually possessing the marionette to give the other victims their rest. Charlie also was in the Silver Eyes book trilogy as the main character, who died as a child and was replaced by robots, her father Bill, growing up and having a normal life until she revisited Freddy's. Henry Emily, he's the co-founder of Freddy's, and he was a brilliant engineer that we theorize saved Afton from bankruptcy and partnered with him in hopes of creating more happiness for his families. He ends up being the one to burn down the FNAF 6 location to put Afton to rest and all of his victims, as well as potentially killing himself in the process. He's obviously the father of Charlie. In the books, not much else to say. The FNAF movie, the original, has many characters, both original and returning from the games. There's some characters of FNAF fans, cameos and YouTubers. And Matthew Patrick are in there. And then he also references animatronics like Sparky, like at the start of this presentation, in a suit resembling a Fazbear Frights book character. There's a variety of original human characters, such as Doug the lawyer, my personal favorite, to make the movie seem realistic and part of our world. Behind the scenes, the crew nicknamed the endoskeleton prop Tina, which I'm choosing to believe is lore relevant, even though it probably isn't. Next, we got Arnold, Seeker the Mimic's main character. He worked for Fazbear Entertainment, and he's dragged into Murray's costume manor for a simple job. He's promised a gift card as a reward, and throughout the game, he realizes maybe she's being led astray. Arnold displays many skills with old equipment, and even if it is probably new one, he ends up getting tricked by the mimic through the entire game, and in 2 endings he dies. He probably dies in another ending. He probably dies in all of them. This is Edwin. He's a talented and rich inventor, making a variety of home products using his mechanical and robotic skills. Edwin eventually teams with Fazbear Entertainment to make some money, but after creating the mimic, his son dies. This causes Edwin to go to a dark place and accidentally teaches the mimic aggression and pain. He is married to Fiona Murray, who also appears in Seeker the Mimic as a pre-recorded voice to guide the player, in the elevator, for example. Another honorable mention is Into the Pit. There's an official FNAF game based off of one of the first FNAF books called Into the Pit. You play as Oswald, whose dad is replaced by a yellow rabbit, aka Pit Trap. The yellow rabbit is more monstrous than robotic, lacking in most human-like traits, and almost seems to be like a demon or monster instead. There's a lot of humans in this game. I won't name them all, but yeah, I've named basically the only main ones: Oswald and the rabbit. Remember when I talked about the merchandise from a very long time ago, and I mentioned the blacklight animatronics? Yeah, we're getting into there now. So, multiple versions of a handful of characters have been blacklighted. They have blacklight variants that glow with under UV light. One second. I'm so tired to make these slideshows. The blacklight animatronics are only found in merchandise, but they were actually in development for a showtime sequence in FNAF 1 Help Wanted before being scrapped. Characters with variants include Freddy, Bonnie, Chico, Foxy, Cupcake, Balloon Boy, Puppet, Endo, Golden Freddy, and the Glam Rocks. As you can see, here's the ones in game. Here's the actual figures. All the colors right, except Foxy was never finished. This is most of them. There's a lot of versions of Freddy. There's like 3 Freddys, a few Foxy. Yeah, there's a lot. Anywho. This is a personal nitpick of mine. Dark Springtrap doesn't fucking exist. There's a cutscene. This is the cutscene right here in this image. Springtrap, where he looks, he looks dark. For some reason, this single cutscene inspired merch, getting its own logbook entry. It's just the lighting. There is no Dark Springtrap. Why are people acting like there is? There's no Dark Springtrap. He doesn't exist. Why does he have merch? Why does he exist? He shouldn't exist. Yeah, this is the bottom of the barrel. We have tie-dye characters. Some weird design choices led to this. They have similar colors to their usual counterparts. Like Bonnie is, purple. Chica's yellow and orange. Springtrap's moldy green. But, yeah. They look ugly. They are the ugliest FNAF merch yet. except for knockoffs, obviously. I actually don't know if these are knockoffs. I just put them in here because when I searched FNAF merch, they came up. And last, of course, we also have plushies. Nothing in particular. There's plenty of different companies and brands of licensed FNAF plushies. Funko has some. There's like probably some more. I mean, I know I recognize these ones. I used to own Nightmare Freddy, as this says. They're relatively faithful to their base material, obviously with less details. Sometimes, you just gotta make some sacrifices to get the plushie to actually look right. But because of sheer demand, knockoff plushies are rampant and are far easier to find than the real things, and the real things can be quite expensive. But yeah, I still love how the plushies looks, even after all this time. This is the end for now, but I will be back. This was the worst video idea ever. If you have any recommendations, I want to get this to 200 slides. So I need 20 more. Either I need 20 more characters or 20. I just need like 20 more slides. Like if you got like 15 characters, throw in like some overviews or some shit, man. Oh my god, this sucks.